So I've decided today I'm going to start at the beginning and do some tutorials on how to do some of the beginning stages of post-processing. You know, the first thing you got to do is decide what software you're going to use. For this video, I want to use Siril, mainly because it's free. And so it's a good one to start with because you're not investing a lot of money into something new. And so what you do is you go to Siril.org. That's the site. This is a free version. What Siril is there's a group of people or programmers, and they get together and they produce software, and then they all collaborate together to produce software. And Siril is that type of software. And so you can donate right up here in the top bar if you want to donate to the producers of Siril, but it is a free software. And so all I'm going to do is when you go to Siril.org, it comes up to this window. And I am using a Windows computer, so I'm going to click that. If you're using a Linux program or operating system, you would click it Linux, or a Mac, you would use a Mac. But I am using Windows. It gives me two options here, a 64-bit Windows or a portable Windows. Portable Windows are not like a desktop. They would install the software on, say, for example, an external hard drive or a USB flash drive kind of thing. And so I am just going to download it onto my computer, and so I'm going to choose the 64-bit Windows. And then you come here and it says, thank you for downloading Siril. And you notice up here in the top right, there's a little download icon with an arrow pointing down. And you can see that that's getting blue around there. That's telling me that it's downloading the software for Siril. And it's just going to appear in my download folder. When it's completed, it's going to come up. Let's give it a second. And download is still in progress, so it's just finishing up the download. Some computers will pop up a little icon or a little window like this, and then you can double click on it. If I double click on it, it's going to execute it. You know that because of the exe here at the end of the file name. So this is downloading Siril 1.4 beta 3. This is the setup full file, and it's an executable. That's what the exe means. If I click on this, it'll show it to me in a folder. The folder is my downloads folder on my computer, or I can make it open right here. So if I double clicked on this, it would start installing and doing the setup of Siril. Say for example that you for some reason clicked out of that and you don't know how to get to it again. Well, you can click on that little download button up here and it'll appear here. Or you could come down here to the bottom and click on the File Explorer down here at the bottom, and then click on the download folder over here on the left hand side of this screen. I'll make it big so that you can see it. It has a list of all of the folders and files that are saved on your computer. If I click on the download one, you'll see it right here. And you'll see that I've downloaded it right here, and it's an application. So this is that same file that we showed over in the right hand side of the screen. So there are several ways to get to it. So if you can't get to it for some reason over here, just click on that, it'll appear here, or you can go into the File Explorer and get it in the Downloads folder. If I click on this file folder here, it will just open that Downloads folder on my computer. And so there's several ways to get to that folder, so you don't need to download it several times. You'll see I did do it here, and I didn't mean to start executing that file, and so I stopped it because I wanted to make a video showing how to do it. And so that's what this file here is. And so I'm just going to double click on that folder, And then you'll see that there's a little, what do you call them, those sand timer thingies. And then it comes up and it says, do you want us to change things on your computer by adding this executable file to your computer? And I do, because I want to install it. It's going to ask me what language I want to do it in, and I will do it in English. There's a license agreement here, probably the thing that we all wish we had the gumption to read it, but we probably, almost all of us, scroll to the bottom and then click I accept the agreement. You're basically saying that you're not going to hold them liable for anything this is going to do to your computer, and you know, there is a chance that things can go wrong. The reason I went with Siril though is because it's been proven. It's been out for many years. Many hundreds and thousands of users have used it without problem, and so I feel fairly comfortable that this is a safe program to install on my computer. You probably also want to run some virus protectors or Defender or something on your computer just to prevent any viruses that may be downloaded onto your computer. But you know, that's for all of that security stuff is for a different video. So I am going to take the risk and trust that Siril is a good program, which I'm fairly confident it is, and I've downloaded it on other computers, but this time I'm recording it. So just click next, and it's going to say, do you setup will create the program's shortcuts in the start menu folder, and that start menu folder is right over here, this 4 windows here. And then you can change it to a different folder and save it somewhere different if you choose. But I am just going to use the default. I always opt to do the default because when I go to install other software that I'm going to use, it generally looks for the default areas, and then it doesn't complicate me having to add or look for the folder somewhere else. And so I prefer to use the default. You're welcome to save Siril somewhere else if you choose, but I'm just going to do the default. So I'm going to click next. It's asking me, do I want to create a desktop shortcut? And I do, and basically, let me close those windows. What it's saying is, do you want to have an icon like these ones over here on here for Siril? And I do want to do that. So I'm going to create a desktop shortcut. You don't have to. It just makes it easier to find the file and launch it when you're ready to do that. Is it required? No. You can absolutely not do that if you don't like to clutter up your desktop, and you could just find it manually if you choose. But I am going to add a desktop. And so then it's telling me that it's ready to begin installing, and I'm going to click install. Now it doesn't take very long to do this install. It goes pretty quickly. You can see that it's going into the default, which is the program files right here, and there's a Siril. It will create a Siril folder, and that's going to be important when you get down the road and you're going to add some of the macros and things that we're going to add later on. And so if you're going to change that default place that you're going to install Siril, you would want to be able to find that, because in future videos I'm going to show you how to download some of the macros and shortcut things that are available for Siril using with our Seestars. And so it's completed the Siril setup wizard, and it's saying, do I want to launch it or visit our first steps? Well, visiting our first steps is probably like reading the instruction manual, so I'm just going to launch Siril. So I'm going to click finish, and then it's going to take a second, and now it's going to load Siril. Now Siril comes up with this black page while it's loading, and then once it completes its loading, it will launch a different screen. And so it just takes a second. The first time probably takes longer than it does on future launching, but it just creates, it's just loading Siril. It will just take a few minutes, and then it disappears and you think something went wrong, but it didn't. It will just load like this, and I will make it full screen right here. It's saying, welcome to Siril. If this is your first time, have a seat and take the time to watch the introduction, and you could do that if you choose to. I'm going to cancel it. It's still kind of loading things, but it's there at least that you can open it. I click this button right here to make it full screen. This is Siril. So now we have successfully loaded Siril, and that is how you download it onto your computer. There are some setup things we will have to do, but I think we'll save that for a different video, and we'll take it step by step, because Siril is kind of confusing. If you look around here, you're like, okay, well, how do I load my FITS files from the Seestar that I've downloaded onto my computer? Well, it's not real simple when you're first starting. If you aren't familiar with the software, it can be kind of confusing, and there are different ways that you can do it. There are everybody kind of does their own path as they load things into Siril, but we will cover those in separate videos. This video is just about downloading Siril. If you went down into here to open, you could open things, but you're like, well, where's my FITS file? Well, we haven't done any of the stacking or anything yet, so there aren't the images that we want to use yet in Siril. So this video was about downloading Siril and how easy it is to do. I'm going to go ahead and close it out, and we will exit, and you'll see that the Siril icon is right up here, and you can click on it and drag it somewhere else, and I tend to put my software things over here. This OBS is the only other software really that I have on this computer, and that's for making the videos that I'm making. So sometimes you will see a screen that looks kind of like this. Well, that's the recording the video. And so I'm going to put Siril down here, and so that's how you load Siril onto your computer. Hope this was helpful. Feel free to subscribe. I'm going to be doing some videos, short videos with tutorials about how to load things, how to get to the files, how to do some post-processing, what we're looking at, and hopefully we can learn how to do some of this post-processing together. As always, we wish everyone clear skies, and thanks for watching.